Hello, welcome to another edition of Casey's Corner 3. You might have noticed that I just skipped the intro music. I'm just going to start reserving that for the full Benchwarmers podcast because I get to do that. I host and produce it. This episode is on the Lakers. I've done Suns, Warriors, and Spurs, and I think that that's kind of going to be what's going on for the first few episodes. So I'm just going to pick a team and talk about them. The Lakers are 9-2. They're the best team in the West. Everybody knows about, getting LeBron last year, the drama of how they wound up with Anthony Davis, the young talent that they traded. I could go on and on and on about everything that everybody already knows. And I'm going to go over things that people already know. It's just how sports works. Like, you're going to know exactly what I'm saying because you look at a paper and you say, okay, well, LeBron and AD are really, really good at this basketball thing. And when you put them on the court together, the pieces around them are a lot better. It's not that hard. But here's the thing. When the season started, the big question mark was who was surrounding those two guys. Like, we thought that Kyle Kuzma was a good player, and can he be the third best player on a championship team? If your two best players are LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I say yes. If your two best players are Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, I say no. So Kuzma, after being hurt and missing the first few games, is back, playing really well. The resurgence of Dwight Howard is something that nobody expected, but it doesn't, I'm not shocked by it. If you think about his issues, he had his back issues his first go-round with the Lakers and then the Rockets. Then he jumped around teams because apparently nobody liked him. But look at the teams that he was playing for then. Like, his first stint was with Kobe. And we all know that Kobe's a hard ass and can be kind of a prick as a teammate. I mean, he demands winning and excellence and all that, but not necessarily the best teammate for a guy like Dwight Howard. Then he goes to Houston, and James Harden and him they didn't really work. And that seemed to be another clash of personalities. In Washington with John Wall and Bradley Beal, he had his glute injury that had him only play 9 games. In Charlotte, it was Kemba Walker and a bunch of young guys. Atlanta, again, a bunch of young guys. There wasn't necessarily a good fit for him. But the thing with him on the Lakers, what I noticed is he actually looks like he lost some muscle mass and became he became a little bit leaner, which I think helps with his fluidity in his range of motion. And he doesn't look the same kind of explosive athlete as he did back in 2010, but he looks rejuvenated. And then you pair him up with a guy who he was drafted the year after with LeBron, who, yeah, he wants to win championships every year, and he expects to make it to the finals, and he has high expectations. But what you've seen from LeBron is he is a really fun-loving individual too, and he he seems to balance both having fun while playing this game and wanting to be the greatest player ever. And that combination, I think, has really helped Dwight shine. And another thing about the Dwight saga is he's not expected to be their best player. Like I said with Kuzma's their third best player. If Dwight Howard is your fourth or your fifth, and you're playing him spot minutes, and he's kind of just he becomes a role player. Like, he's a damn good talent to be a role player, and that should show Lakers fans, as unbearable as they can be, give them hope at least. Because when all said is done, I screwed that up, sorry. At the end of the day, another cliche, you're going to be playing in the playoffs a team that consists of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. There are very, very, very few teams that have a top two that caliber, if there's even one. And now you have the Clippers, healthy Paul George, Kawhi. I get that, extremely good, but those guys play the same position. How are they going to be interchangeable on the wing at the same time? That's where it gets into the Clippers roster dynamics, because that roster is loaded. But with the Lakers, it is very clear who is in what role, who's doing what. Everything is clear. You're going to trot out Avery Bradley and Danny Green as guys who can stretch the floor. Avery Bradley, not that great of a shooter. Danny Green, as Spurs fans know, extremely streaky of a shooter, but both incredible defenders. Then you have this Alex Caruso just taking the world by storm with some of the highlight dunks and blocks and shots and plays that he's been making. Then you have LeBron, AD, Kuzma, Dwight, JaVale. The playoffs are about who are your top 8 guys. Now, if you listen to Bill Simmons enough, you're that's what he raves about, is and all of the NBA guys. It's who cares who your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th man are? Yeah, that'll help you get into the playoffs, and if you happen to have an injury, it'll help you sustain with the next man up mentality. But when it comes to a playoff series, who are the 8 guys that you're just going to rotate through? Minutes go from, right now, LeBron is at 34.5. Anthony Davis is at 35.3. Those minutes bump up to 38, 39. So you only have to find 9, maybe 10 minutes a game to deal without them. And that's when you get into, all right, well, we're going to have 6 minutes of just LeBron, no AD, 6 minutes of just AD, no LeBron, and 2 minutes without either if need be. And it gets into coaching, rotations, and all of that. But I didn't even mention that they also have Quinn Cook, who has, I believe, 2 championships with the Warriors. I don't think he was there for the first one. He could possibly have 3. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But they're going to be scary the whole year. It isn't some fluke that they're 9-2. Anthony Davis was a popular like MVP pick before the year started, because if LeBron plays this way, where he's averaging 24, 8, I don't see the assists right here, but I mean, I'm sure it's around 8 or 9 because it's LeBron James. It's 11. I was even more off. He's averaging 24, 11, and 8, and I believe that's his career high for assists. This team is no joke. It like right at this very moment, sitting here 11 games into the season, when you think come playoff time, I don't see anybody beating this team. Like, I said this about the Clippers before the season started. And I mean, what I see and what happens and what I feel can definitely change an 82 game season. But the more that I watch this team, the more that I realize is that who the hell on the Clippers is going to guard Anthony Davis? I mean, Kawhi is 6'8" with a 7'3" wingspan and 7,000 foot hands. But, I mean, you just throw Anthony Davis onto the block, run a pick and roll with him. You can free him up. Is Montrezl Harrell going to be able to stop him? Paul George, you don't want to put on him because he just came back from shoulder injuries. Zubac? Are you going to trust Zubac to guard Anthony Davis? Mo Harkless? Who do the Clippers have that's going to stop Anthony Davis? And then, unlike when he was with the Pelicans, because we can say, well, nobody's been able to stop Anthony Davis. He's been one of the best players in the league since he entered. His second best player isn't Drew Holiday anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, Drew Holiday's a mighty fine player and probably a top 15, maybe top 10 point guard in the league. But he's not LeBron James. And to then add the shooting they can around them with Quinn Cook, with Danny Green, with Kyle Kuzma, if you want to get bigger and go with Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee, if you want to play Caruso, Rajon Rondo is on this team. Troy Daniels is a guy who can stretch the floor. The one guy that you kind of have to be worried about is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. But we've seen in his past that he can have moments. And if you're only relying on him for moments and not relying on him to be a guy who is going to try to win you a game, he's averaging less than 20 minutes a game, which is exactly what he should be. And you could probably argue that he should be around 12 to 13 minutes a game. This Lakers team will win the championship this year if healthy. Before the season started, after the first game with the Clippers, I was so astonished by how deep and how good the Clippers are. But as I get more of a sample size from these teams, and I really stop thinking about it from, holy shit, the Clippers have so many people. It's hard to fathom anybody in a 7-game series being able to beat LeBron James and Anthony Davis teamed up. only way that I can envision it is if Danny Green just goes over from 3, if they just can't hit shots. But that's, I think, also the beauty of this Lakers team is it's not the Rockets. The Rockets were into some, it's what made the Warriors such a dynasty over the last 5 years. When their shots aren't falling, they have a plan B. They have other ways to win. If their shots aren't falling, they just say, all right, let's crank up the defense. All right, let's just pound the paint. Let's get inside. Let's go for layups. Let's shoot twos. Let's do other things. You have a plan B, C, D. And that is how you win a championship. Now, the Clippers have plan B, C, and D, and E, and all that. And I'm really hoping that we get a fully healthy year out of everybody. Not just those 2 teams, but out of every team. Because I'd also, the first 2 rounds are going to be really interesting before we get a Clippers-Lakers Western Conference Finals. And I just don't see any way that, that's not happening this year. I don't see any other team who's going to get in the way of that after 11 games. I don't know if, I already changed kind of my tune about who's going to win the finals this year after watching more games and not just looking at it on paper. Watching what these coaches are doing, how these rosters are shaping up, just how they all fit together. And I hate to say it, but I'm kind of excited to see a Lakers-Clippers Western Conference Finals. Pitting LeBron and Anthony Davis and their cast of characters against Kawhi and Paul George and their cast of characters is going to be an incredible series. And it'll probably go 7 games. And at the end of the day, it'll probably come down, I said at the end of the day a second time, I'm sorry, habits. But when it comes down to the 7th game, LeBron versus Kawhi, is it actually going to be Anthony Davis that shows that he's the best player of the 4? Is Kawhi going to cement his legacy as a top 20 player of all time this early into his career? There's so many storylines that'll be so exciting to watch unfold during that series. And the journey to that series is going to be so amazing to watch because night in, night out, we get to see LeBron, Anthony Davis pick and rolls. I hate the Lakers as a devout Spurs fan, but as a basketball fan, they might be the best team in the league. And I think right now, as I said a few minutes ago, they win the championship this year. So that's my take on the Lakers. And if they do win the championship, I'm going to hate my life watching all of the Lakers fans on Twitter poke out their chests and scream from the rooftops and all of that stuff. But then again, I've watched 5 Spurs championships and I've gone honking my car down the roads of San Antonio, and that's the beauty of being a fan. So I'll come back with another episode of Casey's Corner 3 in a few days. I have to figure out what team I want to discuss and all that. So thanks for hanging with me. It was a pleasure talking to you while driving home from work, as I always do. And I hope you enjoyed it.
We are bandits of a different kind.